hope to keep him joyful, enough trials to keep him strong, abundant friends to give him comfort, ample success to keep him eager, sufficient enthusiasm to make him look forward to each tomorrow, enough wealth to meet his needs and maybe a few wants, adequate guidance to pick out his own clothes now each day, safety as he relearns how to walk across the street in the dark without a reflective belt, steadiness of foot as he begins to wear shoes instead of the boots that he's donned each day for the past 22 years. And would you protect his head as he steps outside without a cover on? Give him the determination to make each new day better than the one before. Lord, we ask for a special measure of grace for Jen, especially during this time before he finds a job. Lord, don't let him drive her crazy. Bless our time together this afternoon, Lord, with good memories well shared, good food thankfully received, good friends in thoughtful conversation. Thank you for our nation, for our brothers and sisters in arms, for the quest for peace across this globe. Thank you for today's example and reminder of selfless devotion to duty, and inspire us all to the same. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Hill. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Today is a significant event, not only for Master Sergeant McCullough, but also our Air Force. It's a celebration of a true warrior and his 22 years of dedicated and selfless service to our great nation. Service our nation is an incredible journey, filled with tremendous sacrifice as he and his family traveled across the world. Throughout, Master Sergeant McCullough has truly personified our Air Force core values, while participating in several major conflicts and making significantly positive impacts on his many assigned units since 1995. Mrs. McCullough has stood beside him the entire time, and we also celebrate her contributions as well. We extend a warm Alaskan welcome to many distinguished guests and friends of Master Sergeant McCullough. Thanks to each of you for being with us. At this time, I'd like to introduce the presiding official for today's ceremony, Colonel Kevin McCullough.
Seems like a day we should do this outside. I don't know, just seems more comfortable. But anyway, I don't know. So as I did this, and first I want to say welcome to all those that have come and take time out of their day. I was giving him a hard time beforehand. I didn't know the command post could release anybody during an exercise like this, but I'm glad you guys could be here. Maybe I turned down the mic a little bit so no one knows that you're here. You know, as I did this, I have to admit, when Luke asked me to do this, I was a bit surprised, caught off guard, you might say. For those that don't know, he and I have never worked together. He's never worked for me for him, beside him, in the same building even, well, maybe temporarily at times. You know, we know each other by way of his wife, Jen, who worked at the Med Group for a while. She got wise and ran away from us or something like that. But she didn't stay very long with us there, I guess. But in that time, I got to know Luke a little bit. He would drop food off for her, drop her off, pick her up. And in that time, we got some time to talk. But I was trying to determine, you know, why did he select me to do this? And I came up with why. And it was because I am a dead eye with a Nerf gun. And then that story might have to be told later. But we used to have offices. I was kind of kitty cornered to where Jen sat, and I got pretty good at being able to use a Nerf gun and shoot across that over the computer terminal and hit her in the top of the head. So I'm certain that's why he won't admit it, because that would mean I was shooting his wife, and that he shouldn't be excited about that. But I'm pretty certain that's probably why I'm standing here today and being honored, actually, to represent and to send him off on the next chapter. So, you know, the norm as you sit and try to think about how to prepare for this, especially when you don't have a working history with the individual or have a personal relationship as far as that goes beyond the occasional acquaintances here and there. And to be honest, we didn't talk a whole lot on the command post or down in the ICC, except for maybe to grumble about the fact that we were caught down in the basement during the exercise in the middle of the night. But other than that, we didn't talk a whole lot to each other about life in general. But you always have the EPRs in front of you to look at, and when you do retirements, you're always thankful for those 20 plus usually EPRs to review through. It's fun to actually go back through those and look at how writing has changed in those 22 plus years in terms of white space versus no white space, and how we have to write our bullets and not write our bullets. And then of course the EPR's format changed at least 3 times in your career. So, and we struggle with reading those and figuring out what makes, what says what and what makes sense and what's important. But I've sat in your chairs many times listening to the speaker up there go through those, laboriously going through one line after another of those and reading the decks that are already going to be read in front of you in a few minutes. So I tried to stay a little bit away from that. Luke was good enough to send me a bio, kind of a shortened version of his career, to give me the highlights as he saw them. I ignored all. I'm going to incorporate those in here too, to make sure that those are included. He and I met for about, an hour probably this week, just to talk a little bit about some of my questions, and I'll talk more about some of those as we go forward too. I think one point that's important to make before I start, and I think anyone that knows him probably knows this, but he's a little bit of a fan of Star Wars. And so I figured it wouldn't be right to retire you without some kind of Star Wars wrapped up in terms of all of what we talk about. So to start out with that, as we talk about it, prior to his even getting in the military, 3 Star Wars episodes or 3 Star Wars movies were actually released. And those parts, this is the part that always as a Star Wars fan you get confused about, but those are parts 4, 5, and 6 released first versus the first parts of the 9-part series that was promised. I remember as a kid even that those 9 parts were promised and you thought, well, where is the next part? So, and thankful those will be coming yet. But those were all done, and I still, one thing I forgot to ask Luke was, when did you watch the first one? You were like 2 years old when it came out. So, I don't know, what, you were 4 years old when you watched it. Okay, well, there you go. So obviously that was part of his life from the beginning. So moving on through that, I was talking with Luke more, and he shared with me that education for him came pretty hard early because of moving around quite a bit. And so went through 14 schools, 2 years of not going to school, until at the age of 20, he got his high school diploma or equivalent. And I thought about that for a while before I started looking at his EPRs, and I thought, well, one could interpret that as a person's maybe a little slow, not quite on top of things, maybe not motivated, I don't know. But then as I read his EPRs, I found the exact opposite. I think that what that showed was determination, a no-quit attitude. At least we'll say that now, right? Okay. And that he was dedicated to finishing what he started. And he recognized that education was important to get on to the next level of his life, that you have to mark that box, whether or not you agree with it, whether or not you want to do it or not, you have to mark that box. Since then, of course, he's gotten a couple of professional certificates, he's got a couple of degrees through CCAF, his BS degree, and that was the one in education, not the other kind of BS degree. And he's moved on and shown that education is important to him, he can accomplish, start a goal, finish a goal. Then you go on through that, and I asked him, I said, so Luke, why'd you join the Air Force? It was interesting at first. I think he said to get a job, which isn't unusual to many people to join the Air Force. But then he went on to talk about how he talked to his dad. And his dad had been in the Navy, served in the Navy for 20 years. And his dad told him you have 2 choices. You can go to college, or you can go join the military. Well, obviously school wasn't his favorite topic. So he decided he'd go do the military. So he went over to the Navy recruiter, which I don't know if your dad was proud of or thinking you were an idiot for doing that, but got to the Navy recruiter, and Navy recruiter started making real obvious that he was going to recruit him and put him in a submarine. And Luke didn't really want anything to do with that. So off he went to the Air Force recruiter. Air Force recruiter, normal Air Force recruiter, very energetic, very eager to get him in the Air Force. Asked him what his favorite topic, what he would like to work with. Luke said, I'd love to work with computers. Air Force recruiter said, the Air Force doesn't have people that work on computers because they order their computers already pretty much ready to go, and I guess he kind of convinced him that there's a maintenance contract or something that kind of takes care of those computers, so there's no need for any of those folks in the Air Force. So maybe we saw the first sign of a little gullibility in Luke in that case, because he bought that one completely. The recruiter then told him that, if you really want to work with computers, kind of the best job to do for that is aircraft, working with aircraft. And so off he went into the Air Force, buying into that story. So that's where he started in the Air Force. At that point, he came into the Air Force, and that was in 1995 through the delayed entry program. Before I get to that, though, we have to tell a story where Jen came into this. And that was a little more difficult too, because as I asked the question, I said, so, give me, how did Jen come into this? How did you meet Jen? And the Cliff Notes version went something like, there was a friend of a friend's uncle's best friend's girlfriend. That was Jen, I guess, somewhere in there. And that's how they met. I obviously don't think I got that down quite right. But bottom line is in 1995 as well, in July, they went on their first date. And then off Luke went to BMT, I guess, relatively soon. And then on to Keesler for further training. While he was in Keesler, Jen was in Washington State. And they communicated. There's not a lot of young people in the room, but they didn't have cell phones then. Most people in the room actually understand what that means. But to many people in the room, I guess they might have thought, oh my God, no cell phones, how do you survive? Everyone right now, you all have yours on, right? It's on you somewhere. But in their case, no cell phones. So old-fashioned phone booth communication, letters. I don't even know if my kids know how to write a letter. But back to using letters and writing letters. This kind of gave me my first sign of when they were truly in love, because there was a story Luke shared that said he sent Jen a 52-page letter. Now, yeah, the women in the room were like, yeah, drop that guy. I don't want to deal with anybody that writes a 52-page letter. But obviously, the fog was already around them on love, and that 52 letter did not delay or deter her in any form or fashion. And then it was on time in May of 1996 when Luke proposed to her, and then in April of 97 they were married in the state of Washington. So they got through that. I didn't ask you if that was 52 pages two-sided or 52 pages on just two-sided. Okay.
Legal.
That's all right. And how long did it take you to read this letter?
About an hour.
Okay. So now back to Luke's career path. So as I laid out his history, keep in mind again that I'm a medic by trade. Always been a medic in the Air Force. Didn't have a story of a prior enlisted in another career field. I've always been in the medical side of the house. And so as I read these EPRs, they were pretty much Greek in a lot of cases. I didn't understand a lot of the acronyms, didn't know what was what. I cleared up some of that by talking to Luke. So as I go forward, I think of airplanes as something that you meet at a gate, and you wait till they tell you to get on the airplane, you find your seat, and then you wait for the peanuts and the soda to arrive, and that's kind of my life of flying an airplane or being around aircraft. So to get to understand what he did was a little bit more difficult. So as I interpret some of these things, I hope I actually exaggerate in a good way versus miss the mark on a disrespectful side, I guess you might say, as to what he did. So again, as he entered the Air Force, his first career assignment or his first area was in the avionics guidance and control systems. Again, that computer work that you wanted to do in the Air Force. As I read his early EPRs, it was the things that he seemed to do was to avoid attitude failures. He messed with cannon plugs, averted exhaust gas temperature failures, corrected air leaks so that the pilot and the co-pilot altimeters read the same. Now that, I can kind of relate to that. That seems like that's kind of important, that the two pilots actually know that they're at the same altitude. Overall, what I did see, though, was it appeared that he basically was to ensure on-time missions and pilot safety and crew safety as well. In his time at Mountain Home, he was promoted to senior airman and served as one of the lowest-ranking members in the history of the squadron to be a flight line expediter, which I translated to mean he was ahead of his peers in terms of being responsible, able to make decisions under pressure, and able to balance resources to meet the maintenance needs of the aircraft. To top off a great experience in Mountain Home, to Luke's joy and excitement, Star Wars returned to the cinema with the 4th edition, actually part 1, of the series, The Phantom Menace, which was released in May of 1999. You guys didn't know you were going to get these history tidbits, did you? From Mountain Home to PCS to Ellmendorf, Alaska, this was prior to Joint Base, so yes, it was called Ellmendorf, where Luke told me he worked on C-130Es. This is my notes now. So, which I understood, but then he said he worked as an isochronal inspection section area, and I lost him at that point. And this left me a bit confused, so then I looked at his EPRs. And I found that Luke may have been the one a little bit confused because his first EPRs in that area said he worked on 130Hs. So I don't know if he was just not remembering or the age is getting to him a little bit. But so anyway, that aside, while at Ellmendorf, it was becoming more clear that Luke had definite ability to lead, to think outside the box, and to be innovative. Words used were excels in every task, multi-talented and versatile, top-notch professional, teamwork and leadership, proven under pressure, truly gifted craftsman, and finally, a true example of the caliber of people needed for tomorrow's Air Force. He was promoted to Staff Sergeant while there and was part of a team recognized 4 different times for PACAC level awards. And of course, while there, the Star Wars saga did not let him down with the release of the 5th movie, actually the 2nd again in the series, The Attack of the Clones, in May of 2002. Next up, off to the exciting location of Little Rock, Arkansas. You're taking notes? Okay. There, in Luke's words, he spent 2 tours in Iraq teaching Iraqi warrant officers how to fix guidance and control and communications and navigation equipment on their C-130Hs. Again, I'm not sure there are E's or not, but he succeeded in standing up the first post-war Iraqi Air Force squadron. He was promoted to Tech Sergeant and on his way back behind the wheel as a flight line expediter. So translated, he was back to telling maintainers what, when, and how to fix airplanes. In addition, while at Little Rock, Luke, despite his team winning yet 2 more MAJCOM level awards, he decided he had had enough of bad attitudes, messed up gyros, defective collision avoidance processors, faulty oil cooler flap actuators, and many other things that cause airplanes to not fly as designed, and chose to retrain into the command post controller career field. After completing tech school at the top of his class in October 2007, they headed off to McGuire Air Force Base to serve as an emergency actions controller. And see, I can just see by the term, this listening to that title makes you want to be in that career field. Emergency actions controller. While there, he deployed again, this time to Afghanistan, where he serves as the top comm operator and received the Air Force Combat Action Medal for his actions while operating under hostile fire. More descriptions of his ability while there and throughout that time frame: unshakable, relentless drive and ambition, spot-on judgment every time, epitome of service before self, and can-do personified. His efforts contributed to the command post winning the MAJCOM's Large Command Post Annual Award. Luke then applied and was selected for the Emergency Operations Center control position with the Defense Threat Reduction Agency in Germany. He was quickly selected to be the NCOIC of a Joint Emergency Operations Center. And it seemed like, in listening to Luke, and I definitely remember Jen talking about this when she worked at the hospital, this was the clear winner as their favorite location that they got assigned in the Air Force. I think it was because of the impact he could have on the mission for the Air Force and being promoted to Master Sergeant, but then maybe it was the fact that they toured all over Europe and got to see a lot of Europe while there. That's kind of, the way, maybe who knows which one that is, but paycheck paid for the tour and run, I don't know which one it was, okay. But then it was back to a familiar place, good old Alaska frontier, back to Jay Bear. Most of you know what his role was here, and the words of high praise and positions of responsibility continued to occur while Luke, as his team also protected the borders from external threats. In addition, while here, Luke may have received his most treasured of Christmas gifts. Yes, you guessed it, Star Wars resurfaced with not 1, but 2 releases. The Force Awakens in December of 2015, and The Last Jedi in December of 2017. Okay, so to get serious, I just want to close by trying to reference back to the Airman's Creed, something that obviously was created since he joined the Air Force. It's kind of like having an expectation laid in front of you after you've already joined. But in reviewing that, I look at Luke and I think, Luke, you were a warrior who was faithful to a proud heritage, to include your own family. You performed honorably, true to the legacy that served before you. You were a guardian of freedom and justice from mountain home to Iraq, from Alaska's frontier to Afghanistan, who was his nation's sword and shield, its sentry and avenger, who put his life on the line to defend his country. Luke, you are a wingman, a leader, a warrior. You never left an airman behind. You never faltered, and you did not fail. But now it's time to pass the baton, my friend. Hang up the uniform, and like the chaplain said, pick something different than the boots, and turn the page to the next chapter of your life. Godspeed and good luck in your future.
Please stand for the presentation of the Meritorious Service Medal to Master Sergeant McCullough and remain standing for the official retirement. Attention to orders. Master Sergeant Lucas E. McCullough distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as non-commissioned officer in charge of reports, Command Post, 673rd Air Base Wing, Joint Base, Ellmendorf-Richardson, Alaska. During the period, Sergeant McCullough spearheaded the successful creation of a new readiness section encompassing 3 wings and 29 units, becoming the first Pacific Air Force installation to attain 100% compliance with the Air Force Chief of Staff's Readiness Initiative. Additionally, he played a pivotal role planning a headquarters Air Force input tool roadshow visit, fueling the training of 30 senior leaders and 60 personnel on a newly fielded readiness reporting program, earning high praise from the traveling team leadership. Furthermore, Sergeant McCullough expertly evaluated 26 Alaskan North American Aerospace Defense Region exercises and initiated 16 F-22 and E-3 intercept missions, protecting sovereign airspace and validating the unit's ability to deliver top cover for North America. Moreover, he oversaw 32 Air National Guard search and rescues, ultimately saving the lives of 27 people across Alaska. Finally, his steadfast leadership resulted in his team capturing 4 Outstanding Performer awards during the 2015 North American Aerospace Defense Region Inspection. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Sergeant McCullough culminate a distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Attention to orders. Special order number ACD-01899. Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Master Sergeant Lucas McCullough, having served faithfully and honorably, is retired from the United States Air Force, effective 29 July 2017. Signed, General Goldfein, Air Force Chief of Staff. Please be seated. We have a presentation for Master Sergeant McCullough from the President of the United States. Certificate of Appreciation for Service in the Armed Forces of the United States. I extend to you my personal thanks and sincere appreciation of a grateful nation for the contribution of honor service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during a critical time in this history with a devotion to duty and spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of military service. Your commitment and dedication have been an inspiration for those who will follow in your footsteps, and for all Americans who join me today in saluting you for a job extremely well done. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future. We have a presentation as well for Master Sergeant McCullough from the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. Certificate of Appreciation from the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. I am proud to join your friends and family in congratulating you on your retirement from the United States Air Force. The achievements and contributions you have made throughout your career are indicative of the core values of our great service. Your retirement is well deserved, but your selfless contributions will be sorely missed. On behalf of all the airmen, thank you for your faithful and devoted service to our nation. This is a chapter in your life closes, a new one begins. I hope the years ahead are filled with more great memories and continued success. Signed, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. Now I'd like to invite Mrs. McCullough to please come forward to pin Master Sergeant McCullough's retirement pin.
Here's for the blood.
It's nice and sharp too.
Yep.
Seriously.
Alrighty. The Air Force would now like to make a special presentation to Mrs. McCullough. Certificate of Appreciation from the United States Air Force. In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents this certificate of recognition to Jennifer McCullough for the commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service. Given this 29th day of July 2017, General Goldfein, Air Force Chief of Staff. And we have one more. This is a certificate of appreciation from Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. On behalf of all Air Force airmen and their families, the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force presents this certificate of appreciation to Jennifer McCullough. I join your spouse and family and friends in thanking you for numerous contributions and sacrifice you made in support of our United States Air Force. Your dedication gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service in defense of our nation. Signed, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. That is it for you, ma'am.
That's the both of them.
Correct. Now, is that the one from Colonel Dietrich?
No. Yes.
Okay.
We practiced really hard.
We did. I promise, we
We
did.
didn't have these to practice with.
No, we did. These just came to us. So, dear Master Sergeant and Miss McCullough, on behalf of all Arctic warriors here at Joint Ellmendorf-Richardson, please accept my sincerest congratulations on your retirement from the United States Air Force. Your service embodied our core values: integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. And I know that you will carry those values forward as you turn the page to the next chapter in life. Thank you both for your sacrifices your family has made, your enduring patriotism, and your commitment to our nation. Lisa and I offer our best wishes for continued success. Sincerely, Colonel George T. M. Dietrich III, Commander, Joint Base, Ellmendorf-Richardson. Okay, so at this time, we'd like to present the letters of appreciation to Master Sergeant McCullough on the occasion of his retirement on behalf of George W. Bush, the 43rd President of the United States. Dear Luke, congratulations on your retirement from the United States Armed Forces. I am proud to have served as your Commander-in-Chief, and I am pleased to join your family, friends, and colleagues in recognizing your career and accomplishment. Throughout history, the dedicated men and women of our military have protected our citizens and preserved the ideals that make our country strong. Their courage and sacrifice have inspired countless people and have helped shape America's character. On behalf of the grateful nation, I thank you for your contributions to our security and to the cause of peace and freedom. Your service, patriotism, and selfless devotion have helped advance the universal hope of liberty at home and around the world. Laura and I send our best wishes for health and happiness in the years ahead. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless America. Sincerely, George W. Bush. Thank you, Colonel McCullough, and Master Sergeant McCullough, and Mrs. McCullough. At this time, I'd like to invite Senior Master Sergeant Collins to the stage to present a few gifts to Master Sergeant McCullough on the occasion of his retirement.
If it's a severed head, I'm really going to be disappointed. Don't drop it. Just put it anywhere.
Just put it anywhere. All right. So we got together. Xbox butt? Sorry. I did not practice this.
Someone was late.
So we got a little litho together. I think it's kind of fitting because it's a single thing.
Yeah, a little bit. That's awesome. That is beautiful. Yeah.
But show everybody here.
That's super cool. Which one is that, the E or the H?
I think it's a J. J?
No, it's an E.
It's an A.
It's either a super E or an H1.
You started with the A.
No, I started with No, I started with the super E's also. They changed them to the H1s. It's all about the wings. Don't worry about it. It's a frisbee.
It's a frisbee. So this is the official golden wing for the command. So we actually spelled everything right. So
You did indeed.
How'd that story go? Everything.
Okay, this is the first one I've ever had that was spelled correctly on the first try. Kudos. That's amazing.
So I just want to make sure.
That's perfect. That's what I said.
It's been a pleasure having you. You guys don't know, but he was actually prettier when I first got here.
Yeah.
He got realigned. 3 months after, you went out for 3 months?
Yeah, I was gone for 3 months. They realigned my entire face. Now my ID doesn't match what it was when I first joined.
But he does look a lot.
Aww. That's okay. I left my things at home.
I wanted some help with this one. He knows what I'm going to. So, we're going to hold this for you to see.
Oh, that is awesome.
So, your awesome shadow box, which when you guys get a chance to look at this stripe, it's epic.
That is cool.
He knows where to get it from, but it has all the uniforms that he has worn throughout his career, except for the fatigues. He couldn't find one with fatigues color. So,
Well, I also didn't put in the little leather patch that we used to christen it.
that would have been awesome. But, shadow box.
That is cool.
Yep.
You guys did a great job.
I didn't break it. That was the big thing.
I appreciate
This thing
that.
was scary.
Thank you so much.
Take a picture with it.
Yeah, that's a good picture.
Don't drop it.
Yeah, don't. Oh, yeah.
You broke it. There's your 22 years? 22.
22 years.
You had 22 years?
Well,
Right there.
21, 11 months, 19 days, but this count.
I tried to get rid of the whole 18 of that, but we have time to put it.
I know. Oh, okay. So, okay. Yeah, we'll do that one. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Unmute.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is my distinct honor and pleasure to present to you an outstanding leader, an exceptional professional, Master Sergeant McCullough, United States Air Force retired.
Where's the medal ceremony there?
It's actually the ceremony from episode 4, also known as New Hope, the original ceremony. And the only one that Colonel McCullough left out was Rogue One.
The what?
Rogue One, Star Wars story.
No, we mentioned it.
Convention 6.
Oh, that one too.
I left the Clone Wars too, but they're not really the 9. You have to look forward to the next chapter, which is the 9th one.
That's true. That's true. The next one's going to be awesome. Thank you all so much. It's been an amazing run. 22 years is definitely a long time. Never would have thought that I was actually going to make it this way. However, when I first came in, I always told all my friends, me, myself, and I, that, they'll have to either kick me out or I'll make it to the end, and they'll just be like, hey, there's no one left to kill. You have to leave. And apparently they decided there's no one left to kill, so I'll leave. It's been a lot of fun. This assignment coming back here is a lot like coming home, but on the same token, when you're gone for a while and you come back and everything's there, but just a little bit different. It was extremely different coming back and being in the command post. We have a very exciting, diverse mission, and it took a while to get used to, but once you get in the groove of things, this place can be a lot of fun. Thank you, Colonel McCullough, for coming out and doing this for me. I really appreciate it. I know that we didn't bring out the Nerf guns like I originally had promised, and I apologize. But what can I do? When the wife vetoes Nerf guns, you just have to go with it. Speaking of my wife, definitely would not be standing up here today if it wasn't for her. I'd have bailed on this journey a while back. I'm glad I didn't, because I had an opportunity to get out and switch gears, become a civilian, and make quite a bit more money. But she said, no, let's stay in. And then 6 months later, we got orders in Germany, which was our best assignment. Like the good colonel said, we saw 17 different countries, 21 different Hard Rock cafes, 3 different, we went on 3 different tours, and lots of different types of alcohol. If you get a chance, you got to go. Not that I'm condoning alcohol abuse, but we're in the military, it happens. To Mr. Josh Nichols, sitting way in the back, trying to look small. You have been a great friend and coworker for the last couple of years, working on the sorts, dealing with GBRs, TSPs, and everything else we've had. Don't forget the cover sheet for the TSP reports. It's bad. He knows what I'm talking about. Sergeant Collins, this place is now awesome after you've arrived. I'm honored to have worked with you and to call you my friend, and I appreciate that. Chris, Mike, gosh, we've been the 3 master sergeants that were or weren't supposed to be here, couldn't figure out what we were supposed to be doing. But I think in the end, we just kind of made the rules up as we went along, and it all worked. Mike, you are definitely the guy to go to if you need to tell somebody no, and I love that about you, and I appreciate that about you, and I've learned a lot of how to tell someone no, tell them why, and make them seem happy about it after they leave. It's amazing. Chris, if I ever need help with my Fiesta, I'm definitely going to come to you. Same with my POF, which is still not for sale. It's an AR-15, anyway. But I'm very proud to call you 2 my friends, and I appreciate you guys. And I'm so glad you guys were able to make it, especially with the exercise. I know it's a big pain. And last but definitely not least, my wife, who, after 22 years of support and aiding, just basically standing me up, not necessarily holding me, but kind of putting the rod to keep me vertical. Got a little something for you. Come on up. For those of you who don't know me, every time I PCS, I take the chance to embarrass my wife and present her with something. I figure it's not really fair that we're the only ones that get plaques. Thank you, baby. So, this is for you. And what it says is 22 years of support, 7 bases, 3 OIF/OEF tours, 20 plus TDYs, and 2 broken water heaters. First one on my first TDY, the second one was on like number 28 or something. I don't know. Equals 1 amazing Air Force life. Okay, I'll give you this back later. Keep it in the box. It'll be... Okay, another thing that most people don't know about me, whenever I do anything for my wife, I genuinely go overboard. I got you a small bouquet.
Okay.
So, if you can see us,
Got it.
I love you. Thank you for everything you've done today. And I'll take you out to dinner later, I promise. All right. One last thing. Oh, just one last thing. Like Colonel McCullough said, I would be amiss if I didn't throw in the Star Wars quote. So in the words of the great late Sir Alec Guinness, who played the original Obi-Wan Kenobi, remember, the Force will be with you, always. Thanks for coming.
I thought that was live long and prosper.
What?
Alrighty, this concludes the official portion of today's ceremony. Please join us at the reception to congratulate Master Sergeant and Mrs. McCullough. Please stand for departure of the official party.
Later.
Please come, we have cake, we have food, we have drinks. You want really? I tried, I'm sorry.
He's got, a really philosophy. He's got
Want me to hit stop?
I love hockey. Good job. Thank you.
I did.
Okay, haven't done anything.
Yeah, I'd probably say, yeah.
Artie was going.